Ta-da!
Hey,
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 we're back.
we're back. We are. Well, that went okay.
Now it looks like the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
A minute. It make me
I
mama.
feel like the Brady Bunch. Or what's that, Hollywood Square?
Hollywood Squares, yeah.
Well, it's weird, yeah. All right. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to our Sunday night offering of astronomy edutainment, the Sunday Night Astronomy Show.
Yeah.
My name is Chris Kerwin. I'm the creator of the social media channels known as Astronomy by the Bay. I'm also an amateur astronomer and a member of the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada. Yeah. I'd like to welcome back first my two regular co-hosts this evening, Mr. Paul Owen from the Moon Shadow Observatory in beautiful Hampton. Paul, good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
And I'd like to welcome back Mr. Mike Powell from the PFO Observatory here in St. John. Mike.
Good evening, Paul. You got to get Timmy's put behind that coffee.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
Oh,
It's a latte.
And we'd like to welcome all of you tonight from YouTube and Facebook land, and all of you who are joining us through the local Rogers TV network. Thank you so much for your support, and a special hello to my brother Danny, who watches every week. Hey, Dan.
Hey, man.
All right. Now, on tonight's episode of the Sunday Night Astronomy Show, each of us have seen incredible change in our lives with the advancement of technology, and now with the introduction of AI, we can expect that change to accelerate. Those of us involved in amateur astronomy have certainly experienced the revolution, from manual telescopes to the newest advances in computer-driven equipment. Images captured with backyard equipment today, some will actually rival some of the best offered through large observatories only a few years ago. Now, tonight we'll discuss some of these changes with two astronomers who have seen the progression of technology and how these changes will affect the next generation of stargazers. Joining us in our discussion tonight will be local astronomer Mr. Kurt Nason. Evening, Kurt.
Howdy.
Who has spent many years observing with manual equipment and lots of other stuff, and binos and everything else. And Kathy Adams, who has joined us and has just recently purchased and is exploring the benefits of increased technology with the newest all-in-one smart telescope. So welcome, Kathy.
Oh.
Also tonight, Vinyl Bud will be back with another celestial treasure to enjoy. Hey! And Paul will be delivering another interesting Rosanna's fun fact. And we'll also take a look at a few celestial events coming up this week, and we'll have all of your wonderful photo submissions to share. So let's get started then, guys and gals, with tonight's episode and the discussion around the changes technology has brought to our hobby.
so if you don't mind, I'll kind of kick it off.
Sure.
I just wanted to ask, I guess the whole idea behind this started last week when we were doing our usual football huddle on what are we doing next week, guys? And we come up with this idea of it's almost a continuance of a then and now. And, way back in the day when we had 8-tracks, and now we've got in-ear stereos, when we had cars with manual transmissions and manual steering and our high and low stuff on the footboard to turn the lights brighter and darker. Now the cars do it automatically. You don't even have to do it. In fact, you can even drive your car, let your hands off the steering wheel, and look something. I'm not suggesting you do this, but look at something on your cell phone on the highway, and your car will guide it. As long as there's lines on the highway, it'll drive your car for you. So, but all of this technology, all of these technology changes have happened in such a short period of time. And now what's happening is everything that we're seeing seems to be growing exponentially. It's just like it took this long for a change. Now it's taking this long for 2 changes. Now it's taking this long for 15 changes. So that's kind of what we were talking about this week. And Kurt was on the show last week, and we know Kurt's been around since oh my gosh,
5-6 years.
not that old. Only 20, that's good for 29, but anyway.
29, yeah.
But Kurt's been around for quite a long time doing astronomy, in the way that he's done it. And then, and then there's the children that are coming up now, or people that are being raised with technology that don't know even how to look at a face of a clock and read it. To me, I found that astonishing, but that's kind of where it's at today. So I thought, wouldn't that be an interesting topic? And then, and of course, Kathy, who's a great photographer for many years, and decided that she wanted to dip her feet into the astrophotography side of things. And here she is in the short period of time that she's been doing it and the strides that she's made. So it was interesting to find out between the two of them, Kurt with his background and what his ideas are versus Kathy with hers and what her ideas are. So that's kind of where we came with this whole thing. So Kurt, I guess the thing will go to you is, I guess we kind of were wondering what it was that drew you to astronomy, and with the technology changes that have been made. And I know that you still kind of use what you use, and I don't think it's because you have to. I just think it's because it's just a personal choice. But what keeps you doing that and not actually taking into the technology?
Basically, I'm just too old and lazy and stupid to pick up all this photography stuff. I don't want to waste my time learning things anymore.
A 2 out of 3 ain't bad for me.
Yeah, I tried astrophotography, but trying to wrap duct tape, to get your Polaroid onto the eyepiece, and there's no way that'll hold that on there. So I just gave up on astrophotography a long time ago.
But duct tape's come a long way too.
That's true. There've been a lot of advances in duct tape, Kurt.
But I had to wrap it around the front of the telescope. Yeah, I just like what I'm doing. So I'm doing manual astrophotography by sketching things. Not a lot, just mostly sunspots. And if you look at my solar sketches, you got all the sunspots on there, prominences and filaments. So looks like a dog's breakfast there at times, and when it's really active like it is now. And I did sketch some stuff before, but mostly I just like to look. And you never really get tired of soaking up all those photons in your eyes. And I don't want to waste any time playing around with the equipment trying to take pictures of it. And I know I can understand the pride people have in taking even a bad astrophoto if it's the first or second time, and seeing the progression from there. I look back at my log back from 25 years ago, and I know my writing's gotten worse, but I can get a little better in recording things like that. So I understand that people do have the pride in taking a picture like that, but I don't want to spend that time setting up equipment, post-processing in particular. I got lots of reading and things to do that I much prefer doing. So I'll just go and take a look, and I go out every day that I can. I think today is maybe 247 days this year. And typically I'll get somewhere between 275 and 300. And it's that might be just taking the binoculars out on the deck and maybe looking at Jupiter in the morning. Or
What city are you in, Kurt?
Yeah.
Where are you getting those clear skies? 320 days a year.
St. John's got some of the clearest skies in the country.
Sometimes, yeah.
We all have
especially in winter.
lives and houses and cars, and he got a cloud separator.
I said it before. I've sat out in the deck having some refreshments here in nice summer afternoons, and I could see those big summer clouds passing to the north of the city.
Yeah.
Like Sussex and Fredericton getting all those clouds. We weren't. And just occasionally the fog comes in from the other direction, but it's good. So I'll go out. It might be sometimes I'll just look at the full moon through clouds if I haven't done any observing that day, and just for a few minutes or something like that. So it satisfies my need to have some photons coming into my eyes from something else.
You get your fix. Yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of where it all is too, isn't it? I mean, everybody's fix is a little bit different.
Yeah, and you wonder what is it to look at when you really don't get tired of looking at Saturn and Jupiter, because Jupiter's changing all the time with the moons going there. There are the observing programs. So I've been through like 24 years ago. I finished Messier using my C8 and binoculars. The day after I finished, I decided to do it again just for my backyard. And that took me 10 months. And I seen if I'd get a new piece of equipment, I'd try to do that as well. I went through the finest NGCs. That certainly wasn't all from the backyard. go to dark sky for some of that. And I haven't really done any more like that since, but I keep telling myself, look it out, there's other ones to do. I got 2 or 3 other telescopes. I try the Messiers and the finest NGCs with them. So eventually, maybe I'll get up the energy, or not that I don't have any, but just get out and do that again. There's the moon to look at as well. The Isabel Williamson one from the RASC to do that. There's another one from Sky and Telescope, I think, for 100 things to see on the moon. So I might do that, but I'm just really happy stepping out the deck sometimes and seeing what I can see there. But I'm also looking at any comet I can get within reach of an 8-inch telescope, and try to get Mercury every time it comes around for an apparition. So little goals like that keep you going out. So sometimes with Mercury, it's June mornings, you might be out 3 or 4 times 4:30 in the morning to pick up Mercury in binoculars. But just want to do that, get up and get out of bed and get out there and do that. Comets, I'll try to get them from the yard. If it's one that's just outside the reach of the telescope, I'll go outside of the city here and not too very far, 20-minute drive, and you got good skies. And so I need that. I think you really need to have that goal to get out there and do things. And there are lots of observing programs there. So I really prefer to do that than taking pictures of them. If I want to see a good picture, I'll go on Paul's website or on the internet, or really don't get turned on by pictures that much.
Yeah. And I think you said it there too, Kurt. I mean, it's all in what gets you outside, right? It's
Yeah,
it's the coaxing that it takes me. I work 5 days a week, and I come home, I'm tired lots of times, and darkness and just nah. But it's the coaxing to me to get out and try to, like, I'll do a number of, I haven't done a whole lot of live views this year
yeah,
on Facebook, but it's that part is what I enjoy, having taking a cell phone up to the telescope and offering that view to people who may not have an opportunity to see what I'm seeing,
yeah,
and discussing it with other people. So that's partly what I enjoy, but it is that fix, getting you outside for that fix of some,
yeah.
some type.
You have to drag your butt out sometimes, but you never regret it. You
Yeah.
never know when you're going to get that big fireball coming through. Or,
Yeah. Yeah. And the easier it is to get your butt outside, the more likely you're going to do it, right? That's the other part of this discussion too. I mean, how easy is it for you to set up? If you're walking out with a pair of binoculars, if you've got a cell phone you share in a sunset, or
Yeah.
we're going to talk about here with Kathy, the small telescope, taking it outside, setting it up. The best telescope for you is the one that you're going to use the most, right?
That's right.
It's the easiest to set up. So
I have no trouble carrying my 8-inch knob around the yard, or even farther if I have to.
right. Yeah,
Blankets down, I'm ready to go.
that's right. Yeah. All right. Where do we want to go from there?
Okay, so I guess then we'll go over to Kathy, and we'll talk a little bit about your journey, because when you got involved with the Astro world,
Mhm.
you started out with a telescope and a camera. I think you had a C6, if my memory isn't good at all.
Yeah.
And then you got some planetary cameras, and you started doing that kind of thing. And then you discovered the smart telescopes now, and what they do, and so I guess the question to you is, did you do anything like Kurt did? Like, did you ever do a lot of observing, just go out to observe, or were you more just interested in the photography side of it?
A little of both, I would have to say. I've always been a photographer, so the photography really interests me, and I've always loved technology. I remember in university, I was at some of my astronomy courses, and I wanted my own telescope in my house, and they didn't have any at that time. I had the 6-inch. I had a Celestron 6-inch. I moved that on to a 5-inch because it was getting heavy to cart around, and that was a problem for me. I'd had some back injuries, so the 5-inch I could get out, and I still take it out. I use it for planetary, but I didn't want to get carrying a whole lot of gear out and a lot of hookup and a lot of wires and cables, because I hate wires and cables.
Mhm.
Passion. And I didn't want to have something that I had to take apart and bring in with the same amount of energy. But I enjoy astrophotography. I really, really like taking the pictures. I love processing pictures, but I really wanted something that I could have fun with. And fun for me wasn't carrying, and that's just for me, wasn't carrying a lot of gear out because I knew it was going to hurt. So I have enjoyed, I've got 2 smart scopes and I love them. Each one does something a little differently. A lot of fun, just a lot of fun.
So
And I do
this
enjoy
what-
sitting outside too. I don't come in not necessarily with my scope. If the weather's nice, I'll sit outside.
Mhm.
And I'll be watching the sky over here while it's imaging over here, but I will be outside enjoying it as well. So, it's still getting outside. I'm still getting outside and having
Yeah.
fun with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I enjoy sharing the images. I enjoy sharing the images with my friends, most of whom don't have a telescope or the ability to see it. So I really enjoy sharing it with them.
Mike, I can't hear your mic, hear your voice, Mike.
Nothing. No.
Yep, just give me. I had to do this last time.
Yeah.
Nothing yet. No.
Now,
Almost.
A little bit, yeah.
Mhm.
Right up it.
this stupid thing.
There you go. We got you.
Ah, there you go.
Stupid technology.
It is. Where's those crank up microphones they used to have? No. But even when I go out, sometimes I'm just too damn lazy to open the roof of the observatory. You know what I mean? And but other times I'll grab a scope and set it on the lawn and not even bother with the observatory just because I'm out, looking up. But I'm the one guy, no matter what happens, if a fireball goes by, it's behind me.
Yeah.
You're the opposite of Tim Doucette.
Yeah.
I could have a 110 millimeter wide lens going this way, and the fireball's always behind me. So,
Yeah.
but it is
So-
fun, especially when we go to Florida Beach. Like that's an amazing spot. But what do? We don't carry out all our big gear. We grab our cameras and head out. Chris, you grab your phone and head out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I can imagine the difference between trying to set up my my 9 1/4 on the CGM mount with all the wiring and stuff like that. And by the time I get that all set up, Kathy's finished for the night.
And sending you all my pictures.
Here's what you missed, Mike.
And that's what they are.
This is what was behind
Look
you.
at the fireball I got. Yeah.
So, well, that's interesting. So, and we were going to use a term for what we're going to call it. I won't use it because, anyway, but it just goes to show that it's not even a matter of what is current and what isn't current. It's a matter of what you get your joy from, I guess, isn't it?
Yep,
You know,
absolutely. Yeah.
So if you can go out and grab something and go out and have fun and come back and experience zero frustration, then that's probably a good night. So really, realistically, what we're saying here is, Kurt, you experience that because you just take out your scope, plunk it on the ground. Providing it's a clear night, you're going to have a good time. Kathy takes her scope, plunks it on the ground, and presses a button, and she has a good time.
Yeah.
So so there's nothing wrong one way or the other. When we first started talking about these a long time ago, when they first came out, I was like a lot of skeptics. And I thought, I don't know. I'm not sure how this is going to go. But as I mentioned a few shows ago, that, I kind of lost my mojo for a while. And so I haven't really been doing a lot of astrophotography. And I'm starting to ask myself, why is that? And the astro that I have been doing lately has been with my camera and tripod. And so that tells me that, when I was first getting into astronomy, or astrophotography, because that's where I started. I didn't know anything about the sky, and I still don't. When we're doing workshops, I'm asking these guys about celestial names because I don't know them. But to me, it was the challenge of figuring out, okay, I got to learn to polar align. That's the first thing I got to do. Then I got to put a camera on this thing and make it work. And then I got to, hook on this other telescope and make it guide this thing. And then I got to hook it into a computer, but I got to learn all the software. So to be totally frank, for the first couple of years, it was absolutely maddening because you had more nights of frustration than you did of successful victories. But as you started moving on to it, then all of these things start to work their way out because you learn the ropes, you've put the time in, and you learn things. And then you come up with and you start to get some good nights. But then now all of a sudden things go wrong. Cables pop out of place. God knows what goes on. All this different stuff. But with the new technology that's out there, the people who are just getting into astro don't have to go through that frustration. So that's kind of, I think the caveat for them, or not the caveat, but the blessing, I guess, for them is because they can just take something out, experience something nice, get it on their cell phone, share it with their friends, and then go home. And they haven't done any of the stuff that we went through as astrophotographers before this technology was available. So I can see that being a great thing. So that's kind of been my experience with it. But the more I look at it now, the more Chris has always said, you know, you'll start wanting those great big scopes like he has. He has that 11-inch CPC. It doesn't see the light of night that much, very much anymore because it's just too darn big and it's a pain in the potatoes to take that thing out. So why not just go out with, you know, that little 5-inch tabletop Dob or his little scope, and he just has a ball with it.
Yeah.
So it comes down to, and that was the term I was going to use, convention or convenience. And the convenience side of it is exactly what I'm talking about now. For me to go out and take an astro image, I'm more excited about taking my camera on the tripod and the tracker, going out to a dark sky site, find a nice foreground and get a nice Milky Way shot or get a star trail or something, because it's a different type of image, and it's one that you can call your own. Whereas when you're doing astro, you're shooting the same targets everybody else is. So then it becomes a competition to a degree as to how well can you shoot that target. And that's really not the reason why in my opinion, why you should be going out and doing it in the first place, because it should be fun and you enjoy it. So
And
anyway,
you
so
should get
that's,
satisfaction from what you're doing.
yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, I don't think I've had a night of that I haven't had come in and had satisfaction or fun.
Hmm. So Kathy, what would be your procedure if you were going to go out, and I guess you were tonight, so what
Because
is
I'm
the
already
procedure?
tonight.
You'd take the scope outside, set it on the ground, turn the power on.
I level my tripod because
Okay.
yeah, it has to have
Yeah.
a level tripod.
Yeah.
I attach my little scope to it and
Yeah. Can you hold the
I have
little
my-
scope up for a second so we can see, just get an idea
It's
how
a
little is little?
bag. It's smaller than my purse.
There you go.
I have
Oh, my
two.
purses are bigger than that.
My purse is bigger than that. Yeah.
My
I
purse
have
is
two
bigger
scopes.
than that.
I have the Celestron and it's already out imaging something, so I can't show, sorry, the Sea Star, it's out imaging something right now.
Okay.
And then I have my the little dwarf 3 that
And
I,
that's another one. That's
Yeah,
one of these
that's
smart
another-
scopes. So yeah.
that's another smart scope, and that does wide field, as does the Sea Star. This
Hmm.
one's just landscape orientation as opposed to portrait orientation.
Okay.
So I have the two of them.
Okay.
And this one's going
Cool.
out a little later. It was out already tonight, but it's getting to go out again.
Lucky.
This one differs because it also has an equatorial mode. So if I am a little late and something's higher up, I can use the equatorial mode. I
Okay,
just
so you
couldn't-
set it up on the ground, level it out, turn the
Yeah,
power
level the tripod, turn the power on, little button on both of them.
right,
And it connects to my tablet.
right.
My tablet that it connects to. And then I'm looking at the same Sky Atlas as in Sky Safari.
Okay.
And I decide what I want to shoot for that night. Tonight I was shooting the Eagle Nebula. And I get everything set up and away we go, open it up. It calibrates, it takes, it plate solves.
It plates
Okay.
all. So that is
Both of
basically
them.
taking a picture of the sky and comparing it against another picture of the sky of that same,
And it's,
Area.
yes. And
that's
yeah,
how it
and
knows where it is, right?
Yes, so it knows where it is and it knows where it's going. And then I start imaging. I just
Hmm.
start imaging away. And both of them will look at the images. Now, the difference between the two is the Sea Star, I don't have to take dark images, dark files. And Paul, you can probably describe that better. It just helps cut out some of the noise. But this little one, I do take dark images with. It's no big deal. It takes 30 seconds and away I go. Both of them, I can image lunar, not planetary, lunar, solar, and then deep sky objects.
Because they're wide field, right? That's the
So
idea,
wide field,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Not designed for planetary imaging because they are wide field.
Mhm.
but they do a lovely job, and you can process them if you wish. I happen to love processing. That to me is fun, but
Right.
I don't have to. I would not have to. If somebody didn't want to process, they don't have to. They've got an image that it will produce for them.
And so
And
it's doing live stacking. So that's what we
Live
call
stacking,
stacking. So
yeah.
we're taking one picture, 10 seconds later, maybe we're taking another picture, and they just keep stacking on top of each other. And that image just keeps getting
You can
better.
kind of liken live stacking to watercolor painting, where
Okay.
you're taking a watercolor wash, which is very light. And I used to teach watercolor, and then you're building your color up by additional washes.
Right.
Oh, that's kind of what live stacking does, and it brings out your details.
Okay.
So it's
So that,
you can watch it, or you can watch it one frame at a time. And sometimes I do because I want to see what's happening.
right.
Other times I'll be busy over here doing something else or looking at something else. It's a little confusing when I have two of them out at the same time. It's
Yeah.
like watching two children.
So that technology, Kathy, you can have just an image when you're done,
Mhm.
or you can take all the individual
I can
images.
take all the individual images over one night or a course of several nights,
Mhm.
and I can stack them in software, special astronomy stacking software.
Mhm.
And then I have an image I can finish processing to, bring out colors. It produces an image that you can further work on or work away with, or not work away with if you don't want to.
Hmm.
Or it will live stack one for you, and
Mhm.
you have an image. It will either live stack a finished image, or it will live stack what is called a FITS file that you can stretch and work further to do it. You've got lots of options to work with it.
Yeah. So whether you're a seasoned editor or processor,
Yep.
then you can do more with the images.
Yep.
If you're not, then you don't have to.
You don't have to.
So it's kind of a one size fits all. So depending on how you want to approach it,
Yep.
anybody who's never done it before, whether it be processing or image acquisition,
Yep.
it's
I
simple.
have a friend in New Brunswick who is getting beautiful images from both his sea star and his dwarf.
Mhm.
And he doesn't like processing, but his images are fabulous.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
getting great satisfaction. I just happen to like processing. That's something I enjoy as a photographer.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do one or the other. You've got choices,
Yeah.
which is always fun.
Absolutely.
It's always fun.
Mike, you were talking last week about ham radios and how they've gotten from where they used to be to where they are today, and again, because we're talking about before then and now, how does that technology change? Because I know you listen to the Jupiter and you have your radio astronomy,
Yeah.
but also your ham. So how does that?
Well, it's the same thing. I mean, back when my Heath kit is all tubes and wires and resistors. There's not a chip in it. And then, as time moved on, transistors and chips come out and the equipment come out with that. Now the guys are using these things called SDR radios. It's a software defined radio. And they're talking all over the world in this little tiny box, not much bigger than my cell phone, attached to their computer. And they don't need to have these, huge, vast pieces of equipment that it took with all these tubes heating up the room like your t-shirt doing this because you're talking to somebody. But it's all the same thing. It's just that's what it's come to. Technology's moved up so fast. There are some old ham radio guys that go, it'll never be the same, but then they find out they're the first one that bought an SDR radio. So
Yeah.
because it's just the way it goes. Now my son's playing with this new thing, and it's a new type of radio, runs at 900 megahertz. It's man, it's the size of a matchbox. If matches are still around today, who knows? But this thing, it kind of connects off cell towers, and he can text anywhere he wants for free. He doesn't need a data plan or anything. And it's it's just a new thing that's out, and they're coming along fast and hard. And you can do voice communication over it, and it's becoming one of the new, like toy things to play with in that realm, as opposed to picking up your phone and texting and paying for a data plan and this and that. He can do it all for free. It's kind of piggybacking on those signals.
Hmm.
It's just something else that technology's moving along with. So
It's kind of funny with even with stereos today. I noticed like when you go to any electronic shop, you, back in the day, because that's my background, a lot of it's in electronic retail. So I sold a lot of these stereos back in the 70s, the ones that people are now going and looking to buy again. And the technology changes, I saw it then, how it went from 8-track to cassette, and then from cassette to disc, and then from disc to a card, and then now it's just a stream as far as that goes. And it's just funny today that to see something that like Marantz, I don't know anybody who's out there who's in the audio world, but Marantz is one of the more popular retro pieces people are looking for now, and they'll pay big money for it. And they used to be, $200 or $300 to buy back in the 70s when that $200 or $300 was a lot of money. And now they want, in some cases, up to $1,000 for them because A, you can't find them, and B, people are trying to get back to that analog sound again. So I wonder if over time, as people evolve in the astronomy world, bring it back to that, if a lot of people will eventually say, you know what, I think I wouldn't mind having a Dobsonian telescope and just go out there and just plunk it on the ground and go out and see what this observing thing's all about and see what kind of a kick they get out of it.
And they
Kinda
might have
going back
both. They could well end up with both. I could see people, I have both. Enjoy
Right.
both. Yeah.
And I get
Remember
asked,
I remember the university days when I was taking my computer courses, and the computer was the size of this room. And I always said I was going to have a Star Trek computer that would talk to me. I said that from back in the 70s when I was in university. I was going to have a computer that talked to me.
Yeah.
I
It's
get asked all the time about, I mean, I get asked constantly, like, what should I be buying? And especially now, this time of year, because now we're getting to Christmas and you want to make a recommendation, but you don't want to make the wrong recommendation because you don't really know where the person's head's at, but you try to think, which way do I suggest that they go? Do I suggest they go to manual or do I suggest they go to smart scope? And maybe it's both. Like offer both and let them decide. And that, I mean, that's what I do anyways, is I offer as much as I can for information. But to me, it's always the fact that, like Kurt says, whatever gives you that push to get you outside. And the easiest I guess the easiest way to get you pushed outside, whatever it takes, is what it's all about really for all of us, right? I mean, we all appreciate the night sky no matter what we're doing, and we all want to be underneath it as much as possible. So what is it going to take for any of us to be out underneath it, I guess is the whole key.
Well, it's nice to be able to go out and sit with a glass of wine too.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I can see that. I probably, Paul Arthur's on here says the testament to the advancement of technology benefiting the hobby in this show. 20 years ago, you wouldn't have a group of friends start something like this to reach an audience around the world. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
And it'll be interesting to see what the next 10 years brings for all of us in the hobby. Where is AI going to fit into all this? I mean, we got plate solving and stuff now. Plate solving was really only something that you could do through an observatory not that long ago, right?
Yep.
So is AI going to play a point? I'm sure it is, for the next generation of scopes that are coming out, next generation of equipment. But it'll be interesting. And, we've all seen the change up to this point in our lives with everything else, including with astronomy. So we'll see where it goes, I guess.
Well, we haven't even talked about the camera eyepieces that are available now.
No,
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Was just going to say
So-
the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. And the only thing it's not designed for recording, but it's designed like it's the stack so that you can see in color with an eyepiece through a telescope.
Yep.
So it's so that in of itself, if you're just using it to observe, a lot of people would use the dwarf or the sea star just to observe. But if you can do it through an eyepiece, well, then you've got more flexibility because then you can change your telescopes and all that kind of stuff and get different focal lengths and look at different objects that maybe you couldn't being limited by, let's say, a smaller scope or something like that, or one with a fixed eyepiece or fixed lens. So there's that technology, and that's just coming out this year. So I can see that taking off as well. So
Interesting topic. I mean, we could probably talk about this for another couple hours, easy.
And in those couple of hours, more technology is going to be
And
developed.
look at all the pictures you're missing taking. That's right.
Yeah, like what's coming next. I'm just putting my little telescope back in its little case.
There you go. Just
yeah,
for a
well,
while.
before we move on, the interesting thing about those little telescopes is all the wires are non-existent.
Oh, I love that part. Yeah.
There's no pieces and parts to drag out and assemble.
Nope.
And what's probably the coolest thing about it is you don't have to worry about the battery, because for the most part, those things will go. I think this one that I looked at, the most recent, they'll go like about 6 hours on a charge, not using video, but just taking images. So, I mean, that's pretty darn good too, when you consider all
And
of
it's
that.
so easy to have a little portable charger, plug it in because that's what I guess if I'm out, I just plug it in and away it goes, because forget to charge things sometimes.
Yeah. And speaking of Christmas, you could get one of Kathy's telescopes, the new Sea Star coming out. I call it the what do you call it? What's the first one? The something 50?
S50.
S50. Well, the new S30 is the S50's little Sea Star. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's coming out, and so you could buy that, and you could buy a tabletop dog, both for under $1,000.
The two of them, yeah.
Both of them. So so there you go. The technology's there, so you could be like Kurt and be the manual observer, and then be like Kathy and be able to take pictures with these, all for under $1,000, which is less than what I paid for just a camera that I got in my rig out in the thing. So
And easy to set up and easy to use, right?
While you're out there, just sit back and look up at the sky with nothing but your eyes.
yes, because no matter what astrophotography you do, if your face is stuck in the screen, you'll never see that big fireball going across the sky. You'll miss it every
That's
time.
the one that's behind Mike's back.
The one that Mike missed every time.
Every time.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for your input, and it's a discussion that I think we all have to take with ourselves and with others that are coming into the hobby. And again, for me, it's the easiest method to get outside, no matter what you use for equipment. The idea is to be out underneath that sky, right, as much as possible, like Kurt, 320 days. Again, I don't know what city you're in, Kurt.
I don't know where he lives, but I think we all should be moving there.
Not 320, Chris.
Oh, okay, 220. Oh,
It's 240 something right now.
there you go.
I'll still take
He
it.
Yeah.
get 310 one year.
I'll
He
still
has
okay.
the cloud filter none of us have.
He does.
It's amazing because that telescope that Sky News used to have down in Nevada, their site that where all these telescopes are mounted, they bragged about 281 days of clear skies. Kurt's almost got that here in New Brunswick. I don't know how he's doing.
I didn't say clear skies.
Mostly clear.
Maybe that's
Yeah,
it.
there you go. All right, let's move on from that topic then. I think we gave it some justice, and we're going to step into Vinyl Bud next, maybe.
Vinyl Bud. He's here somewhere. I get the right ski. Can you hear me? Number one.
Yes.
Okay. Binocular target of the week. This week by Vinyl Bud is, and we all know this one, M45, the Pleiades, or the Seven Sisters. And look at them out enjoying the night sky with Pleiades right above their head with the moon there. Commonly called Pleiades of the Seven Sisters, M45 is known as an open cluster. Contains over 1,000 stars that are loosely bound by gravity, but visually dominated by a handful of bright members. M45 is located on an average distance at 445 light years from Earth in the constellation Taurus. And it is apparent magnitude of 1.6 and can be seen with the naked eye. And we've all seen it as looks like the Little Dipper, or a mini version of the Little Dipper. So how do I find it in the sky if you go out tonight? And it's a nice clear night tonight because it's coming up. And 10 o'clock, orient yourself 105 degrees each side of the feet, look up, and you can't miss it. I mean, Jupiter's even close. It can make a triangle out of a Jupiter, Aldebaran, and a Pleiades cluster if you like. But just find that big triangle there in Taurus and look straight up from that, and you'll find the Pleiades. It looks like a mini Little Dipper. What does it look like? There you go. There's a quick quick shot of it and starting to see, you won't see the nebulosity around it with a pair of binoculars, but you'll notice those bright stars. And they stand right out. Because in 10 by 50 binoculars, this is what your view is going to look like. Compared to the full moon, it's actually larger than a full moon. I have yet to catch it with the full moon crossing in front of it or through it, but then I believe when it does, you can see Pleiades on both sides of the moon. So it is bigger. And are you ready for this one? Here it comes. I spent all night looking for the sun, but then it dawned on me.
Oh,
Oh, oh.
That's binocular target of the week by Bino Bud.
There can't be any prettier object to look at. Well, I mean, there's a few, maybe just as right up there, but the Pleiades through binoculars are just amazing. Yeah,
Oh, they're beautiful.
it's just such a nice view. Prettiest view.
I haven't got a scope yet that I can fit them in,
No,
but binoculars I can.
they're ideal for
Fit them in.
ideal for them.
Yeah, well, there you go.
And
There's
there's
an
another
Astroscan.
Astroscan. There
An
you go.
Astroscan, yeah. I suppose I got a 60 millimeter Tasco that I can't, and it's only a 400 millimeter focal length.
Yes.
Nope. I
350.
was jumping up and down. I was so happy to see them all. Which wiggled my scope around a little bit, but
All right, awesome.
And it dawns on you.
Dawns on you, yeah. Are we at Rosanna's fun fact next, maybe?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right, let me see if I can share more screens. See if I can make this work. And this week's
Rosanna's Fun Fact.
wow, welcome back, Rosanna. And you know what? Rosanna's fun fact this week is exactly on the topic that we were talking about. And I don't know how she knew to write what she wrote, but Rosanna's got the sixth sense, and she's always writing timely things. So I'm really excited, really, to read this fun fact from Rosanna. So let's get started. So Rosanna writes, "Hi, Paul, and now for something different. And different is good. Usually, unless it's pickled and fermented fish from Iceland, I don't recommend that." Now, just a second, I'm not going to show you a picture of fish. There we go. And now for something completely different. There we go. I got it in line now. As a species, we humans are a visual sort. Since the beginning of our time, we have been looking up and saying to our bestie, "Hey, look at that." And as time has progressed, so has mankind's desire to see better, clearer, further, determined details and peer ever closer to whatever has caught our eye. Thus, the invention of visual aids, here we go, binoculars, glasses, microscopes, and telescopes. Man wants to look within and far, far out. The telescope. Thank you, Hans Lippershey of 1608. The history of its creation, constant improvement and development is a fascinating journey with input from all angles, and from all over the world, all from every human desire to see better, to be closer to whatever sparkly twinkle has us mesmerized. With the just slightly later and now concurrent development of photography, mankind's desire to record, share, and preserve what thrills the visual sense, astrophotography has progressed and developed to such a level that we can program a smart telescope to discover and photograph the skies to a depth that the more traditional telescope cannot begin to compete with. We can walk away, have a s'more, and come back later to jaw-dropping deep skies views on a laptop or smartphone. Even live viewing is becoming beyond our imagination, an actual physical sight due to technological assets. While traveling in Iceland, I took a picture, hundreds, with my phone. It gave me a gorgeous photo, but it was not what I had seen nor what I had been focused on. My sister-in-law, Isabel, the astrophysicist, laughed and said the phone was programming to interpret what I'm trying to take a picture of and basically fill in the blanks to improve the photo. They don't always get it right, but mostly they do. She writes AI code for camera phones. So so I went to on to play around with the edit feature on my phone to see what could happen. And here is one photo of a rather alien-looking landscape where we were hiking. The next was most people removed. And I'll see if I can do this right now. There we go. And the last, and all people removed, all with the touch of a thumb in a bouncing vehicle on rough roads. Imagine what I can do if I knew what I was doing. Notice the weird shadow on the right that appears in the second, but not the third image. So there's the second image. There's the shadow on the right. But on the next image there, it's gone. That's AI making decisions for you. So below is from a C-Star video ad comparing views with 2 refractors. So of course the C-Star for $500. Next to it, Canon 6D used and a 60mm refractor at $1,250. And finally an ASI 2600 MC Duo cooled with that same 60mm refractor for $3,000. And what they're showing you there is not so much clarity, but just the field of view. That's what the difference is there. But just like AI generated art or even DAW, a digital audio workstation that my 12-year-old grandson uses to create soundtracks for the Fun Fact and etc., one must bear in mind just how much technology is doing for us. However, we still need to be participating in the experience to make it happen. And it is our experience. And that is the original processor. That's kind of looking in the future, isn't it? Robots looking at the brain. Yeah, that's the original processor. Technology isn't a bad thing, but neither is the be-all and end-all. But neither is it the be-all and end-all. It is simply the progress of creative inventions from creative minds. Humans strive ever forward and ever upward. So where does that leave amateur astronomers new to the whole shebang that has become an almost overwhelming, amazing world of choices? A bit like a candy store, except pricier. There is a huge something to be said for catching a meteor or comet naked eye, an experience you will not forget and will also crave to see again. There is something magical about Pleiades and binoculars. Mike, there you go. Enough to make me gasp a quiet every single time I look. Every stargazer had to start somewhere, and likely it was simply going outside and looking at the moon. Sometimes all the equipment in the world can't match a glimpse of something, like the moon, and it reflected in a puddle. Or like this past week when the 8.6% moon cleaved a blood orange sword tip into the dark sky as it rose, my phone interpreted it differently. In fact, it barely saw it at all, but I stayed mesmerized until I was fully above the horizon. The wows and awe-inspiring captures from smart telescopes will also never lessen. They will never cease to wow, but it takes a human eye to appreciate what the program codes and algorithms have actually put together. I gave my granddaughter and a grandson a basic hands-on telescope to start with, and I will be happy to provide them someday, if they wish, with a go-to smart door for astrophotography. And I mean this, and not that. I'll leave him up for a minute. I want them both to learn to drive a standard car and use their mirrors before they graduate to an AI-assisted vehicle that tells them what to do. I want them to know what to do first. It's far easier to play do, re, mi from the sound of music if you've already learned a scale or two. You can still learn to play it without the basics, but the struggle will be real. There are basic learning tenements that come with learning the constellations, looking through binoculars, and then using a finder scope on a basic telescope. All the rest are bonuses we can do, but we can do both. If one is lucky, you can do it all. And here is a pic of something that AI might not have thought to capture. Photographer Guanardo Song was taking photos of Mount Merapi, a very active volcano in Indonesia, when something amazing happened. He witnessed meteors streaking rather across the sky. And with his camera trained on the volcano, he captured in a long exposure a beautifully lit meteor flying toward the mouth of the Merapi. The human eyes and technology for the wow and the win. And that's this week's
Rosanna's Fun Fact.
Oh, thank you, Rosanna, for an amazing fun fact. And it kind of wraps up everything we were talking about in one big ball, doesn't it? And kind of puts a little bit more sense to it from the mind of our Rosanna. So thank you, Rosanna. That was amazing.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
My camera would have been pointing away from the volcano.
It would have been behind.
I would have had to pick a rock up or something.
Okay, my turn next. I'm gonna bring up a few photos that were shared with us quickly. Come over to the right screen. And I've got some notes up here. Sure, hang on. Oh. Oh, let's do it the other way. Hang on. Do. Talk amongst yourself.
Do.
Here, okay. I think I got it now. All right. Share the screen. I'm gonna share screen number 2.
There you
Oh,
go.
Right? Yes.
the Rosanna Nebula.
Yeah.
Okay, I just need to get my notes up in a second. This one is coming from Stefan Picard. Yes, Stefan says, "Hi, Chris. Had to try the latest mosaic feature on my C-Star S50. They said this was Halloween night, of course, and had the intention of going after the Witch Head Nebula, but there was a lot of moisture in the air that night, and the pesky cloud band kept me from going after it. So he said, so I pivoted and decided to go after the Rosette Nebula. Soon I realized it was appropriate for Halloween, as like many others see. I noticed I could see a skull in the pattern."
Yes. Yeah, I can see it.
It's here down here, I think, is it? No.
Well,
Yeah,
I
well,
guess you can get it in a lot of different ways.
Oh yeah, that's right. Those are the 2 big eyes, I guess. There's the hole for the nose. There's a skull up here. Yeah, the forehead. Maybe that's.
Yeah, I see it. Cool.
You see my mouse on the screen? Yes. Do you see my mouse on the screen or no?
Yes.
Okay, anyway, he said, happy with the outcome, especially the first time using the mosaic mode. About an hour and a half of total exposure with the dual band filter, hydrogen alpha and oxygen 3 turned on. Processed in Serial, Photoshop, and Lightroom. So great stuff, Stefan.
There you go.
Well done. Thanks for that. I'm going to flip over to Robert Cadet's picture here of the serpent in Perseus. Mike.
Yes, he sent it to me. Well done. I was so pleased to see it.
Yes, there it is.
He's a regular Vinyl Bud follower, so he gets to capture them. So well done, Robert.
Yeah, awesome.
I'm going to go from there to David Smard's captures of
Nice.
Comet
Comet.
3A3 again on the 29th of October. So the first picture is with the Dwarf 2, and then the second picture is with the Sea Star. So we can see the comet is losing luminosity. Yes, it is. So getting difficult to spot now, but that's what was going to happen. So anyway, great stuff, David.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Somebody else here,
Hey.
Hey.
our special guest here. Comparison of more integration time using a Dwarf 3. Now, first image is of the horse head and the flame with 90 minutes of integration with 15-second subs. Is that right? Yes. Okay. And then the second image is almost 5 hours combined integration time with 15-second subs.
Wow, what a difference, eh?
So it has to be a horse with Kathy, right, Kathy?
Absolutely. Well, either that or a cat. Take
There
your
you go. Yeah.
Where did you tap?
You put little ears on the horse and then it
You
can
could put little ears on him. Yeah, we could have a cat in there somewhere.
I'll shoot the cat's eye nebula next.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah, there you go. So great capture there of
Yeah.
flame
very
and
nice.
horse head. Did we lose Kurt?
For me?
Oh, there he is. Okay.
He wanders a bit.
Yeah.
Who are you
Great,
people?
Kathy. Those are fantastic.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
that
you.
was great.
They were fun. They were
Yeah, I
fun.
bet. Look like it. I love that spot of the sky, especially the wintertime sky. Oh, here's one from Jennifer LG, she says, hi, Chris. He said, I had some fun last night making a star trail photo
Wow.
and
Wow.
also
Sure.
a time lapse from the photos. Some clouds rolled in through later on, so I cut them off, and the video is now only 4 seconds long. I'm going to see if I can get the video up here.
Oh, I love it.
Second
Does
here.
she say how much time she put in?
She doesn't.
Because those are long star trails, so she
What was
must.
interesting, see, what was interesting is that there seems to have been a brief aurora glow that appeared in the bottom left-hand corner of the video. I'm going to drag this over, see if you can still see. Can you see the video there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just quickly play it. What you had here. It's only 4 seconds long. As you can see,
Oh,
just
yeah,
a quick little flash of quick little flash
Definitely.
of aurora. Looks like right there.
Definitely.
Well,
Yeah.
Down the
yeah,
bottom.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What's that?
No, I was saying down the bottom. Yeah. I saw-
Yeah. So nice done, Jennifer. She's taken on the Kingston Peninsula last evening. Inspired. Okay, that shot. And I got one more here from her. So that must have been fun to do. I love those star trails.
Yeah. Yeah. They're cool.
And then she says, inspired by Francois Theriaul's photo of SH2199, the Sol Nebula, a couple of days ago, I made it my first object to try the image with the new C-Star S50 mosaic mode. I didn't pay attention to the amount of data needed, so probably shut it off a few minutes early, but this is the result of 3 hours and 55 minutes of data, 555 20-second subs. Even
Wow.
though it had 2 corners not quite filled in, I am quite pleased with this as the first attempt. I would say you would be.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well
sure.
done, Jennifer.
Wow. Lots of
Nicely
nebulosity.
done.
Yeah.
And speaking of Francois Theriault, here's some of his fantastic work.
Yeah. He's been putting a lot of nice stuff out lately.
Yeah.
So he says the Flaming Star Nebula can be found in the constellation of Auriga this time of year. It is both a reflection and an emission nebula. I come back to it in the fall over and over for the first part of the winter. The nebula is large enough to have to do a mosaic to capture its total area with my 480 millimeter telescope. I like its nebulosity and its wispy strands of gas. I've tried to render it as much as possible. What's that?
Oh, you're muted,
My
Cap. Oh, there you go.
stupid Alexa. Sorry, guys.
Oh, was.
Telling me to bring the bird feeders in.
Let's see technology. There we go.
Speaking of AI.
I told it to be quiet tonight and it didn't listen.
So his telescope was an Explorer Scientific AED CF focal length of 480 millimeter. The camera was a ZWO ASI 1600 mm Pro. Exposures, I won't get into all that. Bortle 7 Sky. Bortle 7 Sky.
Wow.
Yeah, we shoot narrowband, so
Yeah. I'll move on from that one to this one, his Tadpole Nebula shot. Also in Auriga. Most unusual target in Auriga at this time of year, the tadpoles are cooler dust clouds with trails of gas that appear to be swimming towards the central active opened cluster. A strong stellar winds result in star formation, contribute to the sculpting of the nebula. My first successful attempt at imaging this very challenging target. I will no doubt return to it on a regular basis.
yeah.
Sure.
Zoom in on that if you can, Chris, to show
Yeah,
people.
and yeah,
There's the tadpole right there. Can you see it?
Right
Yeah.
there.
That is so cool.
easy.
Nice work.
Same telescope in ZW ASI 183 mm Pro. So I was also trying out my new to me used ZWO Pro on this target. Aside from some background noise caused by sensor condensation, the camera performs relatively well. So, and one last one here from him is this one of the Triangulum Galaxy.
Yes, sir.
That's a pretty galaxy.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
In the shadows of its big sister M31, the Andromeda Galaxy, apparently the two galaxies are part of the same group. This is obviously a spiral galaxy, but seen from an angle, it makes it prettier, like the Triangulum Galaxy because of its delicate features and its colorful presentation. And the same telescope with a ZWO AS 1585 MC. So well done, Francois.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff you're taking there.
Didn't you shoot that, Kathy, recently?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, I think you
I
did,
love
yeah,
it. It's
yeah.
a beautiful galaxy.
It
Yeah,
is, yeah. Very
it's
pretty.
a beautiful galaxy.
Okay, I'm going to go on from there to Diane Craswell's And she said she had a few photos to send me. So let's have a look.
I love it.
She said these were alien themed, so she figured she could send them in and include them on the show. So.
Did you call her Halion?
Alien.
Oh, man.
So,
Funny. Look at that.
That's
Awesome.
great.
That's
The
awesome.
dog's been on it. That's awesome. Yeah.
Well done, guys. So thanks for
Sure.
that.
Wow.
Good laugh. And if anybody wants to send in their photos, we love to share them here as you can see. So you can send them into astronomybythebay@gmail.com and we'll be happy to put them on our next broadcast. Very, very quickly, a quick look at what's coming up this week. Tomorrow evening at about 5:45, Venus is going to sit about 3 degrees above the waxing crescent moon. Very thin sliver of a moon and Venus together. Always a pretty picture right there. And it should be dark by 5:45. So yeah, so it shouldn't be a problem to pick them both out. But that's for tomorrow evening. Then actually, if you catch it right around 5:51, you're going to catch a look at the Tiangong space station that's passing by as well. So it'll look almost like the ISS passing by this bright patch here. It's at a magnitude 1.63, so it should be naked eye, easy. So Venus, the waxing crescent moon, and the Tiangong space station, China's space station, at 5:51. So catch it at that time. That's Atlantic time now. Third up, south after midnight, we got the South Taurus meteor shower peaks at 3 a.m. Tuesday morning. Now the predicted rate is only about 5 meteors per hour, but it does overlap with the North Taurus, and it's pretty easy to find in the sky. I mean, there's Taurus. Mike talked about the Pleiades earlier, so it's just to the south of that a little bit. And again, that's not a great show, but we might have some clear sky to pick up some. Best time really is about 3 a.m. They say for that one. From there, I'm going to go quickly to the first quarter moon. That's rise at 1:53 a.m. on Saturday. Of course, that's always a great target with binos or any scope. Because we watch this Terminator line here and we get to see this nice mountain range and a couple of other craters pop out, you can see the detail and a lot more craters around the South Pole. Of course, the lunar Maria all here too. So there's lots and lots to look at on the moon, and the moon's view changes every single day. So yeah, as we wax up to full. So that's next Saturday at 1:53 a.m. It'll turn full or first quarter, but we'll get a chance to look at it Friday or Saturday night, hopefully. And also that same evening, Saturday night, the Straight Wall, which is a 110-kilometer long fault line. That's actually just a gradual depression in the moon's surface, but it appears as a crack in the moon's surface just after the first quarter moon because of the way the sun is shining on the moon at that time. It's actually just a very gentle slope going down that. So it's just a trick with your lights and shadows on the moon. Always something neat to take a look at, though. And from there, we're going to go to our regular calendar here from Lisa Fanning, and she has a page called Lisa's Lookup, Astronomy and More. And you can find her on as Ruby Moonbeams on Instagram, Twitter, Mastodon, and Facebook, and now on Threads as well. So Lisa lists the events for the month. This is the month for November now. Just sent me the new calendar. Thank you, Lisa. She lists all the dates of those events, the peak times that you may want to go out and take a look, and seeing tools. Do you use naked eye, binoculars, or a telescope? So again, you can find her at Ruby Moonbeams on Instagram, Twitter, Mastodon, and Facebook, and now on Threads. Thank you, Lisa. And our regular calendar here, the November, December calendar put out by Kurt Nason. Does a great job on this calendar. Every month we've got, look at what's happening. We've got the red spot appearing now, on every Monday. Kurt has the times down Monday, Tuesday, and some other times through the week. So Jupiter is really the highlight coming up now for the next month or so as it approaches opposition on December the 7th. So we're going to get our best views of Jupiter, the fourth brightest object in our sky behind the sun, the moon, and Venus over the next month or so. So if you can't get yourself out, think about the fact that you're getting out to take a look at Jupiter and check it out with binos. It's always a pretty target. And you can find this calendar at sjastronomy.ca or rasknb.ca. That's where the calendar is fixed. So here you go. Well, that's all I got to say about that there.
Yeah,
Ta-da.
that's how you find stuff.
How you find stuff, yeah. Okay, just give me a second here, and hopefully we'll be able to sign off. get my notes up and around. I think I got them ready. There, okay. All right, so that's our show for this evening. We hope you enjoyed the program tonight. It was pretty interesting tonight. Really, really nice, interesting topic tonight. If you have any ideas for topics, send them into me, and I'd be happy to bring them up with everybody here, or even more. Special thanks to Kathy Adams for joining us this evening, and to Kurt Nason again. Thank you both. Been great to have you both on and get your perspectives on the hobby. Our special thanks also goes out once again to Rosanna for her interesting fun fact segment. Thank you, Rosanna. And special thanks as well to all of you who share our program with your friends and family. Remember too, we do love getting your photos, so send them into astronomybythebay@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to put them on our next broadcast. And a special thanks goes out to our friends at Rogers for joining us this evening. So until next week, wishing you all clear skies. As I like to say, guys, open your eyes to view the skies and keep your scopes pointed up. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Night, everybody.